Siren Head. Bullhorn Slenderman. Speaker Face. A monstrosity known by many names. Siren Head is a tall skeletal humanoid creature with a long pole and multiple sirens in place of a head and neck. No shit. These sirens have a set of gums and teeth on the inside of them. Its skin is tightly wrapped around its bones like a kid in a trash bag with a vacuum. Siren Head has dry, papery skin like the leaf of a backwoods. Speaking of, am I the only one that thinks that loose shredded tobacco looks like a bunch of collected pubic hairs? Just me? Okay. It's thought that like a stick bug, the Siren Head has evolved to look exactly like telephone wire poles in order to blend into the environment. Siren Heads are apex predators in both forests and any environment with plentiful human infrastructure, consuming every creature they come across, like that fisherman guy that catches random ocean fish and then eats them raw to test if they're poisonous, even if they've already been established as poisonous. That's real, and it's called this. You're welcome. There's this myth going around that Siren Head doesn't eat. It's actually that he doesn't need to eat. He eats humans and animals just because he's a sick fuck and thinks it's pretty funny. Siren Head has no eyes, and while some claim that he can still see, like the common bat or Stevie Wonder, this creature moves and locates prey using echolocation, sending out indetectable pulses of sound constantly and receiving accurate feedback as to where your dumbass is hiding. The two sirens on its head will often speak in unison and throw out seemingly random words and numbers in a static-filled, echoey electronic hum. This creature is also capable of replicating any noise that it hears, including human speech, animal calls, and of course, sirens, digital, and other mechanical noises.
Bring a bucket and a mop for this wet-ass fjord.
Siren Head seems to be more intelligent than your average human. You gotta be smart to get a human out of their house if you look like the result of someone tripping balls on mushrooms on Halloween night and seeing an especially creepy telephone pole. The noises that he uses to lure victims will change from person to person. Similar to a skinwalker, Siren Head often uses the voices or screams for help of a loved one or any other voice that it thinks could manipulate a victim into leaving safety. It will also specialize the noises by stalking a victim for a series of weeks to understand its behavior. Many paranormal researchers theorize that the Siren Head belongs to a larger collection of similar humanoid creatures. There have been documentations of lamppost heads, telephone pole heads, and 5G cell station heads, just to name a few. That's right, that crazy swamp lady that burnt down the 5G tower was actually defending you from Siren Heads, and you all just went and put her in jail. Now look at all the places that he has to hide. Siren Head's rise to fame mirrors another internet horror celebrity, Slenderman. Often being called the new Slenderman, this has made the actual Slenderman quite bitter. He was already behaving erratically, as he had slid into alcoholism as so many former child stars do. In a blind drunken rage, Slenderman attempted to run down Siren Head in his car, which was documented by a bunch of 10-year-olds writing Slenderman vs. Siren Head fanfics.
Open the door or I'm gonna throw rocks through your windows, you dumb whore.
Hey Satana, add polycephalic human skeletons to my shopping list.
I've added polycephalic human skeleton to your shopping list.
Stepping out of the bar onto the dimly lit street, you notice a man walking with a strange, jerky motion, his body twisted and deformed. You approach the seemingly drunken stranger and pipe up a concerned, "Hello?" The man whips around, his face a writhing mass of angry hornets, buzzing and swarming in a frenzied dance. You stumble backward, but it's too late. Paranormal investigator Trevor Henderson has recently uploaded an image depicting what looks to be a novel anomalous entity. This image was the only information posted about this creature, other than the caption, "Wasp breath." Usually people submit paranormal evidence to the Foundation for approval, but I prefer it much more when Trevor submits it to Instagram so a spook can pop up in between all of the butts. Scary and horny, the two original human emotions. Even though the information alongside this creature was minimal, we can still find out quite a lot about it by examining its physiology. What should we start with? Oh, maybe the massive wasp nest it has instead of a face. The hoodie and disembodied lower jaw seem to signify that this at one point was a human being. But the giant fucking wasp's nest it has instead of a head signifies that this has something to do with wasps. Wasps are split up into two groups: social wasps and solitary wasps. Social wasps are likely the ones that have taken root inside this poor young man's cranium, feeding off of his brain like an old man slurping the brainstem out of a succulent fish head, or some shit. More specifically, the nest structure, which sats where his thinky meat once sat, signifies that this is a new anomalous species of paper wasp. Anyone who spends enough time around wasp nests can tell you that emergency room visits are expensive. Like what happens when you call an exterminator in Ohio. You're the one who gets exterminated. Fun fact, did you know that many species of parasitic wasps lay their eggs inside of other insects? The larvae can then release chemicals that change the insect's behavior to make them act in a manner that produces the ideal environment for the growth of the larva. Well, that wasn't very fun, but it was a fact. I believe that this man may have fallen victim to a species of anomalous insect that physiologically resembles a regular paper wasp, and builds a similar style of nest, slowly consuming and subsequently replacing the head of their host. Oh god, I'm gonna come. How this human pistachio shell moves is a mystery, but I have a theory that this is a specific type of anomalous wasp with the ability to replace the neural network provided by a brain with a nest in order to pilot the corpse like a sock puppet. In this system, the nest and its occupants would act as the brain, conveying information to one another, bringing a whole new meaning to the concept of a hive mind. After his whole entire brain got eaten by a wasp nest, he was less concerned with human things like purpose and family, and more concerned with wasp things like chewing up wood pulp to make hexagons and shitting eggs in other living beings. While at this point, I feel like I'm pointing at everything and saying anomalous mind-controlling parasite, there's literally a fucking beehive where his head should be. I mean, come on, how obvious does it need to be? This is not only a coincidence stemming from my own lazy writing, but in fact, it may be tipping us off to a larger scale happening. It may be that a genus of anomalous mind-controlling insects has found a new host: humanity. Paper wasps usually construct their nest out of a mix of wood pulp and saliva. Since they're usually constructing it in trees, there's plentiful wood to go around. When you're constructing your nest in a human face, however, wood pulp isn't as plentiful. Chances are, something heretofore unknown about this species allows them to take bone, and possibly flesh, and combine it with their saliva in order to produce a similar substance. Nature is just so beautiful sometimes. I mean, not right now, this makes me want a Kermit sewer slide. I don't know, like a slug. As is consistent with Trevor's research, there's no indication of where this insect species resides. Not in the photo, not in the post itself. So I don't know, I guess you all have to be afraid. Sucks to suck. But hey, I'm just looking at an image and making wild extrapolations because I wanted to make a spooky video. It's a fucking wasp nest, man. Screw you, I know I'm right about this disgusting monster. Please stop making fun of me. I have a skin condition. The God of Chickens. The God of Chickens is a tall, skinny, white humanoid chicken. Similar to chickens, instead of having both a front hole and a back hole, it has only one hole. Its face sports a pair of giant red eyes with minuscule black dots for pupils. You're probably wondering why the hell this weird thing exists, and it's to punish those who eat poultry or abuse chickens. Fun fact, did you know that chickens recognize up to 100 faces, feel emotions, dream when they sleep at night, and can also be fried with up to 11 different herbs and spices? Well, the God of Chicken knows, and now he also knows that you know. The God of Chickens is seemingly intelligent, as it likes to psychologically torture its victims before going in for the final kill. Any eggs the victim has in their house will begin to rot and crack, making the room smell like a North American neckbeard nest. Any unrotten eggs that the target attempts to crack open will have an unborn chicken fetus inside. Consuming this stillborn chicken fetus leads to infertility, if you were thinking about doing that for some fucked up reason. If the household has any poultry animals, these will all become incredibly violent, seemingly working as a team to attack any humans or other domestic animals in the vicinity. The God of Chicken also seems to have a strange venom of sorts. After a target is pecked, they begin to feel sick, sluggish, nauseous, and they gain an excess of weight. When examined at the doctors, the physician expressed that it's almost as if the victim had been pumped full of steroids and antibiotics, just like a chicken on the factory line. The God of Chickens will eventually appear after enough Chick-fil-A themed torture, murdering the victim with a well-placed and incredibly deep peck to the center of the heart. The body is usually found later being fed upon by chickens. You can tell if the God of Chickens is nearby because all chickens in the area will go completely silent before going batshit insane and clucking repeatedly as loud as they can. It can command all poultry in the area, often spurring them to violence. It can be hard to tell if the God of Chickens is nearby nearby because lots of chickens are just naturally loud dickheads. In some egg farms with cruel practices, there have been mysterious cases of all of the chickens in the farm somehow getting outside of the property and wandering together in large groups away from the facility. Upon inspection of the building, it was found that the workers of the factory were crammed into the cages that are considered much too small for even a chicken. Their bones and joints distended and cracked to fit them into these boxes like a jigsaw puzzle. Despite these injuries, every worker was somehow alive and responsive upon discovery. One worker was quoted as saying, "Oh God, why?" In other reports of factories where the chickens have escaped in a similar manner, investigators found the human workers clogging the grinder they used to kill the baby male chickens to turn them into dog food. Fortunately, this did not interrupt the supply chain, and even more dog food was shipped out on time the next day. Unconfirmed accounts of the god of chicken shoving eggs up into people's asses has also been reported. To keep our resident human safe, we've begun feeding him a diet of raw red meat and microplastics only. Side note, this one time I was in a Whole Foods, and I remember the line was taking an incredibly long time. This kind of annoyed me, so I peeked my head out to the front to see what the issue was, and there was this woman just screaming at the poor dude behind the registers because the Whole Foods was apparently out of grass-fed chicken. I don't think I've ever seen anything funnier than the expression of the checkout man on the brink of tears trying to explain to this Karen that chickens don't eat grass. This chicken monster also carries a special chicken egg, which is often seen levitating between both of its strange chicken feet hands. It lays this egg to gain control over poultry, manipulate other eggs in the area, or cause any dead poultry products to move as if they were still live muscle. It often unlays this egg back up into its weird one waist/egg hole to protect it, but you can easily just stomp really hard on its stomach to get it to shit it out so you can crush it. I have not had a single lucid thought in the past 2.5 years. If you can smash this egg, the god of chickens will lose its higher cognition and the rest of its abilities, becoming a regular human-shaped bipedal chicken, also known as delicious. I know what some of you are going to say, isn't that the same image you used for your basis of the stalker in the back rooms? The answer is yes. There could be a simple explanation of me not knowing the god of chicken's existence at the time of making that video, but since I definitely know all and would never make a mistake, I now suspect that they are the same person. Think about it. Have you ever seen the god of chickens and the backroom stalker in the same room at the same time? Coincidence? I think not. If you like this video and want to see me make more, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe with all notifications enabled, or I will shove eggs in your butt and throw you to the chickens. Shout out to the members of the inner circle. Love y'all. Okay, bye.